and I really believe this to be true. And this is kind of the matchup I was looking at. I wanted to see if we could win this matchup, which is Dak versus our defense and Purdy versus their defense, because you can't be Dak versus Purdy. They don't play against each other. But
Right.
I was wondering, because we saw a very good Dak last week against the Bucks, and I was like, if we get that Dak, this game's going to be really, really close. And on the flip side, Purdy, if I was wondering what Dallas was going to do against him, and I would say, you compare the two together. I thought Purdy played better against Dallas's defense than Dak played against 49ers defense.
Yeah. Well, I would say, to be fair, my concern, obviously this season as a whole, but the defensive line in particular has been a strength. And then last week, our for the season, our pass rush win rate was 60%. Last week it was 39, which I very concerned because I felt, if Dak was able to stand back there and pat the ball like he was against Tampa, it could be a long day. And we got after him. We got, it. I'm not sure what the numbers will come out to be, but we heated him up. We definitely heated him up when we needed to, and I love it when we blitz. I just it's great to get the rush when we rush four, but in those high leverage situations today, Ryan's dialed up the blitz on several occasions, and that it's we got burnt once on that, but overall we did very well. Likewise, while they heated up Brock a little bit, we did a pretty good job of protecting him. So I think, like you said, I think that's where the difference came is the protection that we even even though they lost, when we didn't get to Dak, CD Lamb had a pretty big game,
Yeah.
and that's the thing, is when you're playing a lot of coverage, these guys are so fast, and the DBs can't touch them after 5 yards. There are going to be spaces out there for the receiver, to find room if the quarterback, has time enough to find them.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so important that we get pressure.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't know if uh, Skip Bayless is very much a cartoon character. He he was he was in the Bay Area for a little bit as a columnist for the San Jose Mercury News. So
Mm-hmm.
I got to read some of his writing. I've read his books on the Cowboys, and he took his Dak jersey off and he threw it on the ground, and I think he threw it in the garbage. Dak did not play well. Losing Tony Pollard hurt them, but the game was close, and it was really just about how Kyle's offense was able to control the clock in the second half, and Dallas was unable to do that. To me, that's sort of my big picture here. And maybe you mentioned Lamb, but that seemed to be Dallas's only real weapon against the Niners. So
Especially
ultimately,
after Pollard went out.
yes. What happened to Zeke? Jeez.
Yeah, what a fall. Yeah, that's that you. It didn't even seem like once Pollard went out that I figured, well, now Zeke will be featured, but not so much.
No, not
Not
at all.
so
They didn't
much.
even really try. Pollard had um he had 6 carries for 22 yards. Zeke had 10 for 26, and Dak was 4 for 22. So they had 22 rushes, but only 76 yards And the Niners were 32 for 113. So there was a lot of 3 yards and 4 yard gains here for the Niners, a lot in the second half. The other thing is I was just thinking about this is if you're a Dallas fan and you look at this game and you look at back-to-back years, last year you get to the wild card game, you lose. This year you get to the divisional game and you lose. What is Jerry thinking? He already said McCarthy's not losing his job. The Niners have McCarthy's number for sure. And you pay Dak a lot of money. You got CD Lamb is great. You have this double, double running back situation. And you have a great defensive line. Like, what do they need to take that next step? Because still, I thought this year's Dallas team was better than last year's Dallas team, but this year's Niners team was also better than last year's Niner team. I don't know. Are they still right in the mix and you just kind of bring them all back next year? In the NFL, you can't really bring them all back, but, how would you, if you're a Dallas fan, are you okay with how the future is, or is this kind of the limit for where you think they could go?
I just don't see where the growth is. I mean, I don't see, it seems like you said, they're kind of stuck as it is. To think about, making changes on the margins, but I don't really, I don't have their cap number handy, but I don't really see what they can do in terms of making like a huge splash. Like you say, they've got Dak that not really close yet to an extension, I don't believe. But they CD Lamb, I mean, he's a good player. I don't, they're clearly not in the top echelon of the NFC, and I don't really see a path to get there for them. So that's a frustrating place to be, is kind of fiddling in the middle. Philadelphia seems to be like a kind of a juggernaut, and they're set up to be good for a good long while. The Giants are better, it seems. Dabo seems to have a real good grasp of things, and he's made Daniel Jones an actual quarterback. So that's interesting. What they do with Saquon will be something to watch. But yeah, I don't see a path to the upper echelon of the. I don't know that Jerry is one to just stand pat, but I don't really know what he can do.
Yeah, totally. So Brock ends up 19 of 29, 214 yards passing, sacked twice. So, I mean, really pedestrian stats, especially with how the NFL works today. But again, he sort of Alex Smithed it. He game managered the game, and he didn't turn the ball over, which was the most important thing. Because this game was literally all about field position. And then Dak on the other side, 23 of 37, 206, 1 TD, and 2 interceptions.